Okay, Alexis, it sounds like you want two things to happen. You want the ghost to come in once, and then you want to be able to click on them. So I've set up something here in your HTML to help with both of those. Okay, so the first one is to make the ghost pictures only come in once. So the way to do that would be to do two things. One, this part of your page is what is making the ghosts come and go. I'm going to delete that. And then along with it, I'm going to delete that. So what you're left with is this very simple left animate piece. Now, you also want to get rid of this left click functionality and that, right? You can keep this stuff. This looks like you're animating it left, right, etc. Once I've gotten rid of all that stuff. Oh, and there was one other thing that I had to do. So I got rid of all that stuff and I just left these kind of middle parts. And then also up here, this draggable, the 0, 0 was causing it to mess up because it couldn't handle 0, 0. So change it to something that's actually a div and then the whole thing will work. Okay, so for this to work, let's see. Get rid of this. Well, no, I'll just pretend this is not here. So this is something I'm adding. Put it at the bottom. Okay, so I think I have to get rid of all of them at the same time. So I have left pick, draggable. I changed that. I got rid of everything but these pieces in here. I have a left animate, and then I'm going to get rid of all of this. And this is middle pick. You can notice that I got rid of everything. The outside, here, here, and here. Oh, and then we need this. That's really important to keep this piece because this piece is how let me get rid of this so it's not too confusing. This piece is the closing part for this part that's up at the top. So this is the opening, this is the closing, and then I just have all these left pick animates. Right, so I only have the things that were in the middle. Okay. So there we go. Preview. So you can see they do their animation once. The reason they're moving around is because you have these pieces of animate code in there. If you don't want them to animate, you can also get rid of them animating. And then they're only doing it once, right? We've gotten rid of all the looping issues. It's just the once that all of them are doing. And you can see it's pretty cool. We have just one set, two sets, three sets, and then an end. Okay, so again, then they do their animation, and they all don't move. Okay, now to make it so that they animate coming in, you have to go individually into the CSS and do something like this. Left pick, and you need to put it opacity 0. What that does is it makes it, when we first get to the page, there is no ghost there, and then he animates in. Okay? So that's the way to make it so they can each animate in. Then you can play with things like their height, their opacity. Instead of animating, like this is a lot of different animates. You can say you only need one that says animate opacity that. And then instead of slow, you could also put a number there. So you could put 2000 and that will do it in 2 seconds. There he goes. And he's in. So you only actually need this piece of code. If you wanted to flicker, then you would need another piece of code, right? If you wanted him to go like that, and then like that. What that will do is let him flicker in the middle. So there he comes in, he goes out, he comes back in. And you can change it around by changing around this number, right? So maybe like this. So that allows him to flicker if you want to go back and forth. Okay, so he's coming in and staying in, which is good. Now, the second part you said was once you got to the staying in, you wanted to be able to have something appear. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a piece that can appear. So I went down here and I made a div ID equals blue box. So you can give a div ID whatever you want to make it. And I just put it inside the wrapper. Inside of my CSS, I made something called blue box. I gave it a width, I gave it a height, I gave it a background color, and then this is the most important part. I said display none. That means it's not on your page when you first get there. Other things you can also do is you can do position absolute. And then give it a top and a left-hand coordinates. And you can play with the top and left-hand coordinates. And what that will do is it'll move it to sort of on top of your page. It's in the middle here somewhere. Okay. So now I made a pound blue. I made my div. I have a width, a height, a background color just so I can see it. And then it says display none. So you'll see even if I save it, it does not appear on the page. Okay. So then in my source code, I'm going to go back up here to my scripts. And right under draggable, I'm going to do this. And you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to review schools. I'm going to grab the actual code so I'm not confused. Okay, so here's the actual code. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Okay, so this says when I click on something, right? So when I click on left foot click, I want something to show. So I want pound blue box to show. Okay. Now the way that this works is essentially anything that's between this left click and this closing will happen when you click on left pick. So now let's see. Now when I click on it, you can see my blue box comes in. Now other things can also happen. You can also say when you click on it, I also want, I also want left pick to hide, right? And what that means is when he finally comes in, I can click on him, he hides and my blue box is still there. Now instead of show, you can also use something called fade in. Remember to make sure you have the camel case, which is a capital I there, or the fade out. So what that means is when I click on him now, he fades out and that one fades in instead. Okay, so that should be it. Hopefully that answered your questions. Let me know if you have any more.